Now, how in the hell would I even be able to rate this movie? Well, okay, look, it's gonna be a little bit different because of the amount of stuff that happened behind the scenes with this movie, plus Ezra Miller being, just Ezra Miller. But, fuck it, let's just get into it.
You agreed to stay away! I lied.
The acting was actually pretty good. I mean, a lot of the actors pretty much did their best, especially people like Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, although Affleck has pretty short screen time. Also, this also includes spoilers for the movie, so if, you don't want any fucking spoilers, then just go watch something else. Same thing with, like, Supergirl. She barely had any screen time, but, I mean, that was actually a pretty good performance by the actress, so I don't really have anything to complain about when it comes down to the acting. Even Ezra Miller, who, I'm not really a big fan of as the Flash. I mean, for fuck's sakes, they are just so fucking replaceable as the Flash. It's not even funny. I mean, they did a good job. Also, Michael Shannon as Zod, I mean, he wasn't as good as he was in Man of Steel, but, I mean, it's pretty competent, I will say the least, for Michael Shannon. The only real negatives I have about this movie is mainly the story and some of the CGI. Now, unlike some people out there, I actually like Flashpoint, although I really, and I mean really, would not have made it the Flash's first movie, but I mean, it did need a reboot. I mean, this fucking universe did need a reboot, but still, like, me personally, I would not have that be Flash's very first movie. Like, if we're talking like a trilogy, I probably would have had the Rogues as like number 1, or maybe one of the Rogues, 2 would be Gorilla Grodd, and then like 3 would be Reverse Flash, but that's just me personally. The weirdest bit of this movie is mainly all of the multiverse time shit that goes on. Like, they try and explain it all in one scene, and again, this does include spoilers for the movie, so if, you don't really want any spoilers, then don't really watch this fucking video. Like, when they were explaining it, I wasn't like, oh, that makes sense. I was kind of like, okay, mainly because, I mean, look, as a comic fan, time and multiverse shit, it's kind of like how stands work in JoJo, where you're just like, oh, it just works. That's basically how it is with, like, time and multiverse stuff in movies. At that point, you're just like, oh, it just works. But I wouldn't say the story is overall shit. I mean, the emotional parts of the story hit very well, and certain explanations are actually pretty good. But I will say some of the logic is pretty shaky at best. It's also a whole lot more comedic than movies like Black Adam or anything really. Now, I wasn't cringing harder than the fucking Quartering whenever they see a woman on screen, and I will say this, that some of the jokes are, well, pretty good, but I can understand if some people will get tired of them if they even do consider to watch this movie. But I will say there is a lot of humor, and I mean, some parts with the other Barry, like the long-haired Barry, they can get pretty obnoxious. I mean, he can be pretty obnoxious. But yeah, outside of that, let's get into the CGI, and, wow. Now, some of the scenes in the first act and the second act actually look pretty good. There are some parts that look very good, like when he first kind of like springs into action and other moments in the movie. But then you have moments where the CGI is pretty weird and wonky, and it's sadly very noticeable. Like, I mean, it looks like some shit out of a PS3 game. Again, it's not like how, some things in the MCU in Phase 4, they have quote-unquote bad CGI where it's like a blink and you miss it moment and people will just nitpick it out on Twitter for, clout points or whatever. No, sadly, there are some scenes where it's very noticeable. Like, there's a scene where, like, he first finds out about, like, going back in time, and some of it looks pretty weird and wonky, especially, like, a thing of Henry Cavill. Then there's, like, a split second, or at least a few split seconds of it looking weird when, like, he's trying to save a bunch of babies and whatever. I mean, if you're watching it on, like, a big screen, then it actually looks way better. And plus, some of the promotional stuff did actually undermine what the movie actually looks like, and some scenes are cut in a way that makes them look super awkward. There are also some scenes that could have really used real actors instead of, models of real actors, and I don't really think a lot of that is going to age well, especially if more people go and watch this movie. But I'm just preparing for the unfunny as fuck TikTok memes, like, you know, the whole fucking stupid, weird wizard money gang shit. You know the thing I'm talking about, you know, the unfunny what the hell, like a bunch of sound effect type memes. You know what I'm fucking talking about.
Hey, Sway Lee, hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
But again, I mean, even with its many flaws, The Flash is still a pretty good, entertaining comic book movie with, yes, a shit ton of fan service and all of that, but also a lot of pretty good substance and a lot of things packed into it that are pretty fun. And as for how I would rate it, I would probably give it a strong 7 or 7.5.
I liked it.